Hey foodies, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are making bacon, spinach, and cheese stuffed salmon, and I got this idea from Stovetop Kisses, but of course I put my own spin on it. I just wanted to make sure I gave her credit. So stay tuned and I'll show you how to make this delicious recipe. So for this recipe we will be needing 6 salmon fillets, 1 pound of shrimp, 6 slices of bacon, 1 handful of feta cheese, 1 handful of mozzarella cheese, 2 handfuls of fresh spinach, 7 garlic cloves, a half a stick of cream cheese, cooking wine. I will be using fine marsala for this recipe, 4 tablespoons of heavy cream. I don't have that, so I'm using whipping cream, fresh thyme, a half of a lemon, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, garlic and pepper herbs, roasted garlic and rosemary sea salt spice blend, crushed red pepper, Maggie fish seasoning, Creole seasoning, and parsley flakes. So let's cook. So I'm going to start off by chopping up 7 cloves of garlic, and what I like to do is smash it with the back of my knife first and then go in and chop it after. It just makes it easier for me. Now once I'm done chopping that up, you just want to set that aside and put that in a bowl because we're going to be using that later. Now I'm going to pan fry about 6 slices of bacon on medium heat. Since I'm using a smaller pan, I had to cut my bacon in half, so I have to do about 2 batches. And you want to cook these for about 4 to 5 minutes on each side. Now once you're done with that bacon, you want to make sure you remove it from that pan, but make sure you do not throw out the bacon grease because we are going to be using that. So at this point, you want to put the fire on low heat, and I'm going to add in about 2 tablespoons of cooking wine, and then I'm going to give that a good stir. So now I'm going to add in that garlic that I chopped up previously, and we are going to let that simmer for about 2 minutes. So after 2 minutes, I'm going to add in 2 handfuls of spinach, and you just want to cook this until it starts to wilt. And the great thing about this is the spinach is going to absorb all the flavors from the bacon grease and the wine, giving a wonderful added flavor. All right, so now that my spinach is pretty much done, I'm going to set that aside, and we are going to chop up that bacon since it's probably cooled down by now. And I'm just going to chop this in inch thick slices. And of course, when I'm done with that, I'm going to set that aside as well. So now it's time to make our stuffing. What I'm going to do is get me a large bowl, and I'm going to take that spinach and transfer it to that large bowl. Then I'm going to add in the bacon, a half a stick of cream cheese, a handful of mozzarella cheese, and a handful of feta cheese. Then I'm going to add a teaspoon of the rosemary and sea salt spice blend, and then after I'm going to mix everything in until it is well combined. So once the stuffing is well combined, we are going to set that aside so we can get started on preparing our salmon. All right, so the first thing we are going to do is season our salmon, and I'm going to be seasoning the front and the back. So these are the exact measurements for the seasonings. I use 2 teaspoons of Maggie fish seasoning, 2 teaspoons of garlic and pepper herbs, 1/4 of a teaspoon of Creole seasoning, and 1 teaspoon of parsley. And these are the seasonings for 6 salmon fillets. If you happen to miss the seasoning that I said in the video, it should be on your screen. If not on your screen, you definitely need to check the description box below where I post a full recipe and step-by-step directions. Also, if you guys like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe to my page as well as hit that notification bell below. That way you don't miss a new recipe every week. Now, once I'm done seasoning up that salmon, I'm going to set that aside so I can season up my shrimp. So for the shrimp, I'm going to be using 1/4 of a teaspoon of Creole seasoning, 1/4 of a teaspoon of the garlic and rosemary sea salt spice blend, and 1 teaspoon of garlic and pepper herbs. All right, so now I'm going to make sure I mix that up well, and then I'm going to set that aside. So now I'm going to put my fire on medium heat, and I'm going to add a generous amount of olive oil to my pan. Let that heat up, and then I'm going to add in the shrimps. I basically cook them for about 2 minutes on each side. I just want to make sure they have a good sear on both sides. Remember guys, this is shrimp. You don't want to overcook it. So once that's done, you want to remove that from the pan, and then right after add in about 4 tablespoons of butter. Make sure you leave all the leftover juices from the shrimp in your pan because that's going to make for an added flavor for our garlic butter sauce. Now once that has melted, I'm going to add in a tablespoon of minced garlic. However, if you have fresh garlic, definitely use that instead. And then I'm going to add in 4 tablespoons of cooking wine. I'm going to go in with 1/2 of a lemon, and I'm just going to squeeze that. And then I'm going to add about 4 tablespoons of heavy cream and 1 tablespoon of honey. Of course, you want to give everything a good stir. Just make sure everything is well combined. So now it's time to add in the spices. I'm going to be using 1/2 teaspoon of the rosemary garlic sea salt blend, 1 teaspoon of crushed red pepper, 2 teaspoons of parsley, and 2 sprigs of thyme. So now you want to give this a good stir and let this cook on simmer for about 8 minutes. It has been 8 minutes, and as you can see, the sauce has reduced and it's the exact consistency that I want it to be. So I'm going to set that aside, and we are going to grease our pan that we are going to put our salmon in. So now it's time to stuff these salmons, but we're not actually going to be stuffing them because the salmons are too thin. What we're actually going to be doing is adding that mixture on top and then adding another piece of salmon on top, almost like a sandwich. I know guys, easy, right? I'm just going to show you guys how to do this one more time in case you missed it. Right, so after we're done with that, we're just going to take our salmon and add it directly to our pan. Now I'm going to pop this in the oven on 350 for about 20 minutes. If you're doing 3 stuffed salmons though, you might want to do 30 minutes. It has been about 20 minutes, so I'm going to check on my salmon. As you can see, they look about done, so it is time to take them out. Now that that's done, I'm going to add the shrimp on top that we cooked previously. You're going to have leftover shrimp, so with that leftover shrimp, you can set that aside or eat it with your meal. Now it's time to add the sweet garlic butter wine sauce on top, and we're just going to drizzle that on top, and that is really going to take that salmon to a whole new level. Telling you, don't forget the sauce. And that is the final product, guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed this recipe. If you did, be sure to like this video as well as sharing it with all your family and friends. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.